borderline personality disorder, or BPD, and ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disease or disorder, have in common. Now, I'm typing this into Google. That's why I kind of paused for a minute while I was typing. Because, yeah, if you don't know, I've been taking a course with an internship in the health field. I called it orderly, but I think it's not assisted living or elderly care, that type of thing. Hello. And the problem from the beginning was, well, first of all, this is completely new for me. But a lot of times it comes up, and a lot of you mentioned it here. I bounce from one thought to the other very quickly when I talk. I seem to be concentrating on a lot of other things when I'm talking. Um, and what happens in the internship, my disorganization in the sense that, okay, because I'm used to working alone. I've never had a job per se. So let's say I'm doing something, laundry, and I have to get something, I'll just walk around, get the stuff, and then come back as the thought comes up in my head. As opposed to for this job, and maybe other people, you think about all the steps that need to be done and you organize everything and you bring everything with you so you don't have to move and you save time. This has come up a few times in my life and I wanted to kind of deal with it and I never did. And now it's like I'm being faced with it on a daily basis. It's frustrating, the people around me, and meaning the haggardy old professor and the people at the facility saying like, what's going to happen when you're on probation and this and that and there's a bursary and all that, and I'm like, I'm doing the best I can. Hello. But this is helping me in my personal life, facing my limitations, you know what I mean? So, and today we had a long conversation. I'm telling you, because what happened was, there's always more than one person, and they end up taking over with the items that need to be done. Or they're like, you forgot this, you didn't plan everything. Why is the soap over there? Why is the towels there? Where are the shoes? Gotta do this, gotta do that. And then I'm, and anxious and panic and freeze and all that stuff. But what happened was, one of the women, elderly women, who I've, you know, helped to go to the bathroom before. Someone was always with me, but I did most of it myself. With one of the supervisors who's really nice and not condescending, doesn't get frustrated. And so it happened that this elderly lady told me she had to go doo doo. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to the person in charge and see what we do. So I'm wheeling her off. I find the person in charge, and she's sitting down in the cafeteria doing something with the other coworkers. And I'm like, okay, Mrs. So and so needs to go to the bathroom to do a doo doo. And, I'm not saying outwardly, oh, hello, I'm not saying outwardly, but I'm like, are you coming with me or not? Type thing, right? But I didn't say that. And she says, without getting up, she says, yeah, she's in room 204 and you could do it there. Oh. And so I took a second and I'm like, Okay, let's do this. you know, I wasn't because she was nice. The woman, she's nice, and it was I was like, okay, let's do it. I feel okay. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. You know, I'm alone. You know, no one's gonna bother me. I didn't know we weren't allowed to do that. But anyway, so I went in with her. I brought her in. I knew I had to get like 4 washcloths, 1 or 2 towels, her diaper, um, her she has her walker and all that stuff in her room. There's no sink next to the toilet, but how am I gonna do this? And then I figured it out. And then all the information that I knew came to my head. I didn't freeze. I'm like, okay, take 2 of the washcloths in the sink that's in the other room. Make sure you keep an eye on her. Lather him up, bring him into the room, put him on top of the toilet. Take 2 washcloths to rinse. Like you alternate like that. Sometimes you have a container, but there's no room to put that. So I dealt with that, and I remember someone did that. I'm like, that's what you're gonna do. Keep them warm enough so they don't get cold. Okay, have her stand up. She can stand up. She's good because some people aren't strong enough to stay up for long. But she did it. You keep her partly closed, but I put the new diaper underneath everything, so like when you change her, that no doo doo drops on her pants. And then I put the towel there. Like I knew those things that people were doing, and it came to me. I'm like, yes, let's do this, and I'm talking it out loud with her, and she's very agreeable with me. Apparently, she's mean to some people, but not with me. So it was very encouraging, and it was very all positive, right? The time to put on the diaper was harder. You don't say diaper. Is it diaper? There's like a pejorative word that you're not supposed to say. I do it in French. There's diaper and there's the one that's not referred to for babies. You guys say the adult version. Adult diapers, adult pads. I don't know. I only know it in French. Sorry. So yeah, I was having problems with the putting on the diapers, but I remember one person doing it on her own, and I kept saying to her, "Okay, stand up straight, stand up straight." And I'm lifting up her shirt. I'm trying to like press myself against her so I could hold the back on. I initially had it on the wrong way, but it was working. She was working with me. I finally got it on. I made sure I got it into the line of her into the line of her like properly snug in between her legs. Like it has to really line up properly. And then I just double checking. I went in front of her to do it. I was like really being meticulous about it as much as I can, while taking into account that she's elderly and standing up for a long period of time is hell for her. But did it and pulled up her pants, got her back onto the wheelchair, and did it and brought her back into the cafeteria. And that was it. I was like, yes, I did it. And apparently, I wasn't allowed to do that. You had to make sure the supervisor, was with you. But then again, when I spoke to the supervisor, the nice one, I said I did it, but I said technically I'm supposed to be watched, and she was like all like, yeah, whatever. I was like, okay, cool, because it helped me. She wasn't being a stickler, and it would help me because it gave me the confidence that yes, put me in charge, just let me do it, don't have anyone bother me, and I'll make it happen. So that was very good. And I was telling the people in charge, and they're like, "Well, you have to be supervised." I'm like, "It doesn't work with me because I'm expecting all you guys to take over, and then I just don't do anything, and I look like an airhead, you know." So, so that was the conversation I was having with the person in charge, the teacher who does the rounds of the students, and she's a frustrated old hag. But anyway, so we're having this conversation, and I was learning a lot about myself. It was coming up as I was, I have to relearn new habits and undo the habits that I already have, and it helps me in my personal life also. Like yesterday, I was really trying to figure out how to do everything so I'm not running all over the place getting things to that level of organization. And now, organizing my day so that it is 5:53. I have to be in bed by 6 and get up by 4. That's 8 hours sleep, and make sure everything is done, but not don't overdo things. Just, so it's a lot of hard work in for me. Anyway, so I got Google on here. So I wrote, "What do borderline personality disorder and ADHD have in common?" It should have been does. Eh? I initially wrote that, but anyway. So it says here, you know how Google writes does. They'll do a quote from the most popular article, and they'll just highlight that. But it's from a NIH.gov article, so maybe. So it says ADHD and BPD share some clinical features, particularly impulsivity and emotional instability. Okay. These disorders often co occur. Patients with diagnoses have more pronounced difficulties, which are intertwined and often difficult to treat. That doesn't help. Uh, Let me see videos. Maybe someone did a video on this. Can ADHD lead to borderline personality disorder? Ah, Dr. Fox. Let me see what he has to say. Let's watch this. This is from 3 years ago.
Hi, my name is Dr. Daniel Fox, I'm a licensed psychologist in the state of Texas and an expert in the area of personality disorders. And today we're going to talk about the intersection of BPD and ADHD. And in this video, we're going to examine that overlap. Now, this is a complicated combination, and it poses a lot of challenges to not only the individuals who have both of these diagnoses or one of the other, and they're trying to tease them out, but also those mental health providers and those health providers that are also trying to treat them and work with them so that they can do things differently and be able to have more control over themselves and their life. And it is my hope that this video will help you do that. And if you like the video, I hope you'll check out some of my other ones or subscribe. And of course, as always, please leave any comments. I try to read them as much as I can.
I'm just going to put this here and listen.
Know that comments are really helpful to other folks who watch the videos as well. So let's get to it. So ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is a neurodevelopmental disorder and is characterized by inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Now BPD.
I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but all through my growing up, my father used to say I'm very hyperactive. So I just take that as that's probably it. But, anyways.
D is characterized by erratic and dramatic responses to internal and external stimuli. And you think, so okay, you've described both these both of these disorders, and how can they overlap? They are described so differently, but there is a lot of confusion, and we're going to keep going into that. And what the research has found is that 60% of those that are diagnosed with BPD as adults were diagnosed with ADHD in children.
Holy fuck. Really? 60% of people diagnosed with BPD were diagnosed with ADHD in childhood. Let's keep going.
60%. That's a lot. Now, about 18 to 27% of adults with ADHD have comorbid BPD. That's also a lot. It can be as much as a quarter of those with ADHD also have BPD as well. Now, individuals with ADHD and BPD tend to have more problems in school, more problems at work, They're at greater risk for substance abuse. They have more negative interactions with police. So there's a lot of personal ramifications to this as well. Now, they also have more issues with relationships, and that's a very, very complex area for them. So you see that these two disorders, even on their own, can be very disruptive. But together, I think it really exacerbates and makes it much more complex and difficult for those individuals to manage, to identify, and build that sense of knowledge and control. And that's what we're doing here. We're building that sense of knowledge and control. And there is a lot of confusion, as I mentioned, about that intersection between BPD and ADHD. Now, in adolescents and adults, it's difficult to distinguish ADHD and BPD because both disorders, they share a lot of surface structure features such as disorganization, impulsivity, social intrusiveness, emotional dysregulation.
Disorganized. Really? BPD is disorganized. Oh, fuck. Impulsivity, emotional dysregulation, okay.
And cognitive dysregulation. And emotional dysregulation, so I'm going to define emotional dysregulation, cognitive dysregulation for you. So emotional dysregulation, now these are angry outbursts or behaviors such as destroying or throwing objects, aggression towards self or others, and threats to kill oneself.
I used to do that a lot. Not anymore. Hello.
Now, cognitive dysregulation, this is paranoia and disassociation, for example. So, distinguishing characteristics between BPD and ADHD are those issues often seen in those with BPD. So what we need to do is we're going to separate BPD from ADHD to help you sort of identify that. And this is where my approach, and if you see my other videos, that I talk about core content and surface structure content. And surface structure,
Yeah, he talks about that a lot.
Surface structure, right? They're very similar. That's where a lot of confusion is. And I think that is for most disorders, particularly when we talk about personality disorders, because personality disorders are driven by core content. And core content for BPD tends to be abandonment, emptiness, worthlessness, and it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to identify what your core content is. It really builds a sense of knowledge, and that knowledge helps you build empowerment to control your behavior and have better control over your life. Okay? But so that core content of BPD is driving that surface structure behavior, but it's that overlap. It's that complex combination that makes it so difficult, that comorbidity of BPD and ADHD. And impulsivity is the greatest overlap. And we see this, it's in a lot of the research. I put two research studies, citations at the end of the comment section for you to check out if you want to read more about this. And impulsivity, though, is consistently identified in both through the research. Now, tends to be the root of all of this confusion. Although it has the same name, it is very different in surface structure presentation related to that core content. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about ADHD impulsivity, BPD impulsivity as well, to give you a flavor for it, a little flavor for you. Okay, so ADHD. Now, impulsivity in ADHD includes this, you run around or you may climb in situations where it's inappropriate. Adolescents or adults, it's often, you get this feeling of being restless, I gotta go, I gotta go. Okay, you're unable to play or engage in leisure activities quietly, and so you're into a lot of things, moving a lot of things, disrupting a lot of things. You're often on the go, as if driven by a motor. Now you're unable to be, or you're uncomfortable for extended amount of time. This can be like in restaurants, airplanes, or meetings for adults, right?
This is weird because the few times I would go places with my dad, I would never be able to sit down. He always said hyperactive. I couldn't sit down.
You're trying to sit quietly and listen, but you can't. You gotta go, right? Maybe you're a clicker, a pen clicker, right? Or are you a tapper? right? It's this restlessness. It's that impulsivity. You gotta go, and you can't relax. You can't slow down. Now, you may be seen as restless or difficult to keep up with because you're on the go, go, go. Okay? These folks are on the go, go, go. Okay, and talks excessively. You complete other people's sentences to try to hurry along that conversation. You cannot wait for your turn in conversations. You blurt out answers before the question is even completed being asked. You have difficulty waiting your turn if you're in line, playing a game. Or even for an event to come up, you're just ready. You're like, okay, I'm ready. I gotta go. Gotta get in there. Gotta get involved. Gotta get active. Gotta do. So you go. And the last one is that you butt into conversations, games, or activities. Now you interrupt or intrude on others. In adolescents or adults, you may interfere or take over what other people are doing.
Let me fast forward this a bit here.
ADHD impulsivity. Now let's discuss
BPD. Okay, here we go.
impulsivity. Now, in BPD impulsivity, it's in at least two potentially damaging areas. Okay, so it can be on spending sprees, it can be sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, binge eating. Now, this may sound like, well, isn't that a manic episode? Those can be components of a manic episode. I did do a video on bipolar disorder and BPD. I'll put that link here. But this is different because what this is that you see that it's a continuance of behavior to engage in these things, whereas manic episodes tend to be episodic, right? So manic episodes, you see that you hit that high for a period of time, and once that period of time is over, it starts to slide down. They're episodic. In bipolar disorder and BPD, they're not. They're responses to go, when you're impulsive, and a lot of times there are situational triggers that set you off. So that's what we're talking about here, that impulsivity. Okay, and again.
Okay, I've had enough. If you guys want to go see the video by Dr. Fox, it's called Clearing the Confusion, BPD and ADHD. Dr. Daniel Fox. I should put him in the title also. Yeah. He says that the impulsivity is different, but that's why people see ADHD and BPD as similar. He also stated that people with ADHD can change to BPD when they're getting older. So, I don't know, the impulsivity and the disorganization. Yeah, when I did not know to this level uh, how disorganized I can be. So, yeah, there you go. I'll talk to you in another one.